Violet here, and happy Ostara. Happy Spring-Equinox. So we are going to be doing a collective reading today. And I will be live around Ostara on this channel doing individual readings using the spread, so do check that out if you would like to receive a reading, especially for you. But this is going to be tuning into the collective energy and just seeing what we might need to most hear this Ostara. So I have around here some crystals for each chakra. We've got some bloodstone for root chakra, carnelian for sacral, some citrine for solar plexus, some green aventurine for your heart, some lapis lazuli for throat, amethyst for third eye, and quartz for crown. So we are making a flower spread. Since it is spring, we're gonna have flower. We're gonna have flowers. We're gonna have petals going in every direction, and each one is gonna have 2 oracle cards and 1 tarot card. So we're looking at the chakras, as you might be able to guess, and each petal is going to focus on each chakra. So we're going to get messages for these different areas of our life, these different layers of being. So I hope you get a lot out of this, and please let me know in the comments what you think of this reading and the spread as we do it. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get out the cards and let's get the messages. All right, so we have our flower, and we are going to begin with the root chakra. So think about like your baseline needs, survival instincts, feeling grounded, feeling safe. And let's see what we have. So we're reading everything upright. Wow, we've got the 8 of Pentacles. So this has to do with work, putting in the work. We have the discovery of the unknown and integrating energies, awakening, transitioning. So I feel like this message, I'm going to move this candle just because I don't want to light the cards on fire. Oh my gosh. But it made a pretty image, right? So just looking at these right off the bat, it makes sense that we have pentacles as this like earthy rooted energy. And so it feels like it's taking some of these more ethereal, mysterious elements and doing like very practical sort of work and application with it to make it something more grounded and rooted within you. But we have integrating energies, awakening, transition, discovery, unknown. And I feel like the word transition is really sticking out to me because in times of transition, in times of things kind of being quickly changing, or maybe, it's simply you're shifting into something that you don't fully know yet. There is a lot of discovery, and there's a lot of mystery, and there's a lot of kind of figuring things out. So I feel like there's a message here about like having to actually sort of like put in the work and do the steps to feel more grounded, because you are in a time of transition and you aren't fully rooted in, wherever it is that you usually would be to feel most safe and to feel most secure. With the 8 of Pentacles, it feels to me like you are safe. You have the resources that you need, but it might just be a bit of a confusing time and something you're trying to wrap your head around. I see a lot of like blues here. I'm thinking of kind of like airy head energy and just trying to like figure it out. So this is about grounding it down, reminding yourself that you're safe. And I think it's not just the thought of saying, yes, I'm safe, but it's literally like putting into practice, doing the work, grounding yourself. What makes you feel healthy? Like, what foods are you eating? Are you able to do some practices that ground you down into the earth, even if it's just feeling yourself on the earth and imagining like sinking into it, so it's like physical practices, paying attention to, what it is that pulls you out of body, and actively, part of the work might be actively avoiding those things, because you're integrating energies. So it feels like there's a lot kind of, whoops, oh no, I dropped one. There's a lot sort of coming at you, and this is about like finding a way to bring it down, consolidate, and ground. Okay. Got that card back. Cool. So let's check out our sacral chakra. So the sacral chakra, this could be like, more sensual, sexual energy. It also could be creative. There's kind of a birthing creative energy and watery sort of energy in the sacral chakra. So let's see what we have. We have the 5 of Wands. Impress. Interesting. Impress also makes me think of the word empress, even though that's not what it is. And green epidote and star jasmine, it says restructure, identifying, reframing, enhancing. It feels to me like there is some sort of conflict playing out. And it feels to me like a conflict of ego. And it might be between you and another person, because it feels to me like this, it feels to me like thinking about the other person's perception of you, and almost like a need to sort of like prove yourself, or a need to like be a certain way. But there's conflicting energies here with the 5 of Wands. So it's either like this conflict is happening between you and another person, of like meeting their expectations or being whatever it is they need. And this could very well be in a romantic partnership, since we are kind of in the like sexual chakra. But it also could have to do with sort of like baseline, like ego, sort of like needing to know that you are valued, know that you like proving yourself, essentially, is what I'm feeling, especially with the 5 of Wands. And impress. Yeah, the word impress, like 100%. But we have this message here of restructuring, and it's very green. And it feels like it's bringing like calming energies to that sort of intensity and that fire of the 5 of Wands, which again, it makes sense in the sacral chakra. This might be what's going on. But restructuring, identifying, reframing, and enhancing. I kind of want to go through each of those. So identifying, like, what is it between me and this person? What is actually going on? What is the root of this? Where is this need coming from? To either be receiving a sort of energy from them, or maybe they're kind of insisting on receiving a sort of energy with me, or maybe I'm feeling like I'm not living up to it, or I kind of have to be different than I am in order to impress. Identifying what it is and where does that come from. And then reframing. It feels to me like this is actually finding a better balance in relationship with other people, or in relationship with just simply yourself in the outside world. Think about, how am I being perceived? This really is giving me the vibes of like the type of energy I was just 100% in, and maybe you relate to this, but 100% in like middle school or something, where I was just so concerned about like, how do I look to other people? How do I come across? And it just so happens that's at the time where you're kind of like sorting through all of these sort of sexual discoveries too, of like, who am I? Am I attractive to other people? Or like, how do people perceive me? Or like, how am I proving myself? It feels like they're all kind of wrapped up. It has to do with identity, but it's identity of like me with another person, or me with the outside world. That feels like a very concentrated time of life that this energy would be present. So you might want to think back to like, okay, what were the sorts of things I was dealing with in that kind of a time? And where are there glimmers of that happening now? And how can we reframe this into a more calm, like once we've identified it, a more balanced sort of way of being, so that we can calm these fires a bit. And then enhancing. I feel like there's something to grow from this. There's something to develop and learn. There's a way to sort of mature through this. Again, thinking of that metaphor of like when you're like a preteen, early teenager, or just teenager in general. And it's like, well, this is also like an initiating time It's a creative time too, sacral chakra. Like you're creating your identity, but there's so much pressure to base your identity off of like other people and bounce off of them at that time too. So yeah, that's an interesting message for that chakra. Let's take a look at the solar plexus now. I'm going to keep these in order so our flower keeps looking pretty. That's the goal, a pretty flower. Okay, solar plexus. And oh my gosh, using the chakra system, they all like lead so well into each other. Okay, so we've got the King of Cups, we've got Restore, and we've got Heart Opening. Interesting. Heightened sensitivity, and Heart is going to be the next one. Heightened sensitivity, unifying, high on love with the King of Cups, and Restore. So this very well could be a transition all happening in the core within you of coming from this sacral chakra energy of sort of conflict or needing to prove or whatever it is, impress, or how you're being perceived in relationship to other people. And then we move through this solar plexus energy, and on the other side of it is the heart, is love. And I'm getting this idea, since it says heart opening, of kind of almost like opening the heart through also the solar plexus, and maybe this also heals some things about the solar plexus. Because the King of Cups, it feels like emotional maturity, and it feels like an openness to love and true love. And we have here Restore. And I'm wondering, since we started out with this message of feeling out of balance or in transition, if there's something to do with love and something to do with the heart that it's time to return to and restore, but maybe it's at a new level. And maybe in this initiating process of like moving to that new level, there's a bit of like conflict that happens along the way. So this feels like smoothing things out, restoring, getting to a place of emotional like stability, and you feel it in your gut. Talk about water energy in the gut, don't you? Like it moves like it, you feel intuitively things like water in your gut, in your solar plexus, you know? And then it opens up to heart opening, heightened sensitivity. There we go. That might be talking about the like intuitive sort of pulls and feelings, and unifying, high on love. So let's move into the heart chakra, because I feel like this is almost telling a story now. And of course it does, because we're starting with each chakra and then we're building up. I lost my screen for a second. Okay, there it is. All right, so the heart chakra, we have interesting 7 of Pentacles, and earlier we had the 8 of Pentacles with those grounding practices. 7 of Pentacles, this has to do with timing. Block with turkey tail, and my body is a safe space. Transmuting, breaking down barriers and realizations. So looking at all of these together and kind of taking into the account this whole story, it feels to me like you might have encountered a sort of heart block, and it's coming from a place of feeling unsafe. And so again, it feels like it starts here. Of course it does, but it feels like it starts here with the root chakra. Things being shaken up, you being in a state of transition, you know? And then this is what it does to how you feel in your body, in like according to the outside world. But we realize, all right, we need to move back into a space of like caring for ourselves and being able to care for others in like a very heart-centered way. We intuitively are being pushed towards like where we need to go to restore. That was our solar plexus. So it's also getting the courage to step up to that and step up to that challenge. And here we have it. Here's where the battle takes place. It's in the heart. Transmuting, breaking down barriers. Those are the blocks and barriers. Realizations. I think with the 7 of Pentacles, we have to realize that this isn't something you can exactly force, or you can't at all. This is something you have to wait to play out in its own organic way. But guess what? With the Seven of Pentacles, it's saying that this is how nature moves through you. This is the path that you're on, the trajectory that you're on. So you can take care of these diligent sort of steps in finding your safety again, like that we started with in the root chakra. That is something you can control. But we have to kind of let things move in their own time here when it comes to actually moving through and clearing out these blockages. I feel like this is a message for if you're feeling disconnected, if you almost feel like there's like a wall up or there's something between you and other people, or if you're feeling that towards yourself, you know, in terms of your heart and being able to care for yourself. I think it's saying take this one step at a time, but ultimately also trust in the natural unfolding that's happening. Lava stone and red hot poker. That's really intense. So I also want to say that if you're experiencing like turbulation within your heart, which also makes sense because we see some of that here. We almost see like this battle, this like fire and water battle that's happening. You with these two chakras underneath, and of course it feels like the heart is like the place where this that's where the treasure is. So that's where the battle is happening. Hopefully this makes sense to you in whatever areas of life this would make sense, because obviously as a collective reading it's gonna hit people differently. So, you know, take what resonates. Okay, so it's also possible some people have been dealing with heartbreak, or maybe it's the heartbreak of the loss of things just changing in general since things have been shaken up for you. So let's see what's next here with the throat chakra. We have Two of Wands, Capture, interesting, the Void, whoa, Ego shattering, soul fragments, emptying, but at the same time we have Capture and the Two of Wands. Okay, so it feels like there are two processes happening, and we're talking about the throat chakra, so this is how we express ourselves. There's something to release. I wonder if there's actually something to almost apologize for when I see the void and the ego shattering. I wonder if there's something to apologize for. And it might be something that happened because of survival instincts. It happened kind of down here in the lower chakra area. It feels like the void is sort of just opening up, no expectations, but just apologizing for whatever that is. It's like facing that darkness, right? Ego shattering, kind of letting go of that pride that might be sort of concentrated down here. And an emptying. It's a freeing feeling. Yet at the same point, there's capture. There's this almost like this safety net or like a cage. Well, cage isn't quite the right word, but I mean, it looks like it, red cage. That's what I'm thinking it, like the mushroom, but a container. I think this is holding yourself in love so that regardless of the response of the other person, if you're apologizing to a person, or maybe you're kind of like sending that energy out in a more general way, whatever it is, you're holding yourself in love. You're keeping a container of love to know that you're not going to get kind of lost in the void. And those are the two sort of balancing directions that we have with the Two of Wands. She's holding a crystal ball here too. So it's like she's holding the future. We have to keep these two wands lit. It's like a wand for ourselves, but then at the same time, a wand in which we think beyond ourselves and we kind of release that pride. And it's this balance of the two things. In the throat chakra, there's a way of expressing. It makes me think too of like, for example, when you're creating art, you are very connected to your individual self and voice. Some people almost think of it as like a very self-serving activity in some ways, because you're just like, you know, you're expressing yourself, but in a way it's actually the most like giving thing you could do, because you're taking something that is, yes, of yourself, but then you're giving it out. you're releasing it. You're also releasing it to criticism. You're releasing it to all sorts of things that could happen. It's a very giving thing to do. So you're holding like these two flames at the same time. You're both honoring yourself, and then you're also at the same time releasing. I hope that that's making sense in some way. Let's see what we have here for the third eye, because I do think the throat and the third eye are very like connected here. So we'll see if we can make more sense of this. The Emperor. Rarity. Okay. Womb healing. What? Well, first of all, we have this very feminine and very masculine energy kind of both together, like bam, what is that? Womb healing, sexual power, and sovereignty. You know what's interesting about this? Is that if you think of things, and you can kind of see this on the wheel, but, okay, so let's say, you know, we've got the crown here. Let me see how to say it. Okay, like if this is the top kind of, it's like across, gosh, what am I saying? Okay, let me start over. If we put the heart, I'm losing people, I can tell. No, stick with me. I'm just trying to figure out how to show it here because the thing is kind of tilted. If we have the heart as the central point of the chakras, there are 3 above and 3 below. There's kind of a mirroring thing that happens where basically here's the heart. So the solar plexus and the throat are like mirrored to each other in a way. And then, which we're getting to now, we have the sacral chakra and the third eye are kind of mirrored. And I, in a way, see this as some sort of, like a conversation between sort of lower feminine forces, higher feminine forces, if that makes sense. So here in the third eye, we're looking at the higher forces. We still need to be grounded, you know, we still, like, all of these are essential. We're not saying one's bad and one's good, but there's a balance that is happening here. Sexual power and sovereignty. So this is, again, it's claiming your own personal wants and needs, not just kind of putting yourself in relationship to other people or comparison to other people or kind of thinking about like how they perceive you, that sort of thing, like putting yourself outside of yourself. No, sovereignty. This is like, you know, being in control, being at the center. That's the Emperor energy. It feels like it's like some of these feminine forces being balanced by more of the masculine forces. And you know, I'm sure if you're listening to this, beyond gender, we're talking about just like energy. So the third eye is also about like envisioning what's possible. And we have rarity. So I feel like there's something about embracing the uniqueness of your vision, the uniqueness of who it is you want to become. And I feel this is almost like seeing this higher version of yourself, especially when you're in a state where you're feeling, it's very easy when you're feeling unsafe and kind of some conflict is happening and stuff to kind of crumble into that and almost like see yourself as the lower version of yourself. But this, the third eye, visions, it's like, I think Spirit wants you to see yourself in this situation as the higher version of yourself. That is the version of yourself who, for example, may need to come forward and apologize in some way. But also holding themselves sacred and honoring. And that's what, you know, some of this was. And that to do with what it is that you're expressing. So here, rarity. You're beautiful. Like, you are so unique. Everything about you, including the flaws or the things that you're trying to work through. It's like that journey is beautiful. Just like you might read a story about a character and you love them for their flaws and you watch them go through it and overcome it, and that's what makes the story interesting. It's what makes it relatable. That's how the world relates to you too. So this is embracing and loving and becoming this higher version of yourself through acceptance, you know? And that's all part of it. So then we have our crown chakra. This is going to be the highest sort of spiritual message here. We have the 3 of Swords. Wow. Purpose and judgment. Hey, and this is another sort of blue mushroom, very similar. Almost it's like this is the opened version of these. Interesting. Interesting. And make a wish. I feel like it's very possible that there's something that went down where there's like a part of your life that left or you had to let go of, or a person or something, some sort of heartbreak, some sort of betrayal. But I feel like you're being encouraged. In a way, I'm looking at these mushrooms and how they open up to almost like open up about it. Feel like holding yourself in safety. Again, connecting to this idea at the beginning of safety, but still opening up, almost being vulnerable and just seeing the truth of like what it is that happened, how you might have played a role in this too. And it's just this like opening. But here's what happens. In that opening, in that vulnerability, in that space where something has exited, you get to make a wish. You get to make a wish to the universe, because by opening up, something's able to drop in for you. Clearing comparison. Whoa, that was like the sacral message. Surrender to magic. And there's that opening and that surrender. So there's an acceptance. There's an acceptance of the change that happened, of the shakeup that happened. And then at the same time, there's something beautiful. There's some kind of blessing coming in. And hey, this is you leveling up. And this is you opening up more to spirit. So really, yeah, this might be in a way a painful moment of your journey. But in taking these messages, hopefully you can begin to feel safe, number one, sovereign, healed, patient, humble, balanced, spring equinox, balanced, and lastly, open and ready to receive. And that's the healed feminine part of you too, being able to receive what's good, what's beneficial, from spirit. I hope that this makes sense. Let me put the candle back in the middle. Let me know what you think of our flower, and happy spring equinox. Blessed Ostara. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.